when we're talking about how the drivers would feel about a vaccine mandate, what kind of reactions are you getting from them on that? Just all of them required for a vaccine to do business?
Yeah, and I want to be clear and qualify this, that this isn't about being pro or anti-vax for us. We've been moving the vaccine, PPE and test kits. So this is something our industry is very forward leaning on. But in our sample survey of our fleets, it came back as 37% of our drivers not only said no, but hell no. Now let's just take a conservative number. Let's just say 3.7%, not 37%, were to actually leave rather than get the vaccine. That'd be catastrophic. We're already short 80,000. That's going to inflate it to 250,000. So for us, we've tried to be very clear with the administration that if you do this, I understand the logic behind it, but if you do this, these are the consequences. So if you're trying to solve the supply chain problem, you're actually compounding it and actually hurting the very problem that you're trying to fix on the vaccine side.
There you go.
So, be careful what you wish for here. I also don't think, Congressman, that OSHA has the jurisdiction to do this.
All right.
When we're talking about how the drivers...
I told you earlier that vaccine mandates would eventually backfire. And even with the new variant, I'm here to tell you I'm pretty sure that is still going to be the case, is that eventually the crap is going to unwind. So I played that clip to start out. That's about truck drivers. You want to see prices go up? You want to see supply chain hell? Tell truck drivers they got to be vaxxed to cross borders and stuff. See how they take it. It's not going to work out. Biden's plans, his best laid plans, are not going to work out for him. Things aren't going in his favor lately. That's all. It's just sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And right now it's been a real losing streak for the old guy that doesn't know where he is, who's supposedly like the leader of the free country. So that's what's going on with that. Now he has something new to worry about. I'm here especially on YouTube for once, also on Rockfin, DLive, and Twitch. And this goes out by podcast, but hey, YouTube, it's been a while. I got kicked off just for telling the truth about vaccines. And so I've been over here on Rockfin, still making videos, still doing a podcast. So make sure to find me over there, rokfin.com/lifttheveil, because this might be the last show I do on YouTube. I don't know. But in the meantime, it's the holidays. Hopefully everybody had a good one. And I thought I'd say hello to people who don't even know what happened. What happened to Lift the Veil? Hey, everybody. I'm seeing people pop into the chat. Hello. So you know where to find me, okay? And that's where to support the show, too, because, on YouTube, I can't have super chats or anything. Even if they let me on there, which they're doing me a favor, they think, right? Just giving me the platform. But I'm going to report on the news. Tell you guys what's going on with this new variant. It is newsworthy. It might affect your life. You might have to decide. You might have to decide whether it's time to sell Bitcoin or whether it's time to buy Bitcoin. I can advise you on that. So I'll tell you what's going on with the variant. I'll tell you what they're saying, what they're doing, and then what they're saying that they are not saying. It's very confusing. So let me give you that update today, along with other news. I'll tell you first what I'm going to cover, and then I'll cover it. First, the Waukesha attack is waking some people up to the bias in the news. So I want to give you the reports on what's going on as a result of that attack, which you'll probably never hear about again now that we have a new variant, Omicron. So let me tell you about the update from that news after I tell you about the virus. And then I have some investigative reporting I've been doing on looting, organized looting, which is also a problem. And a lot of it was happening around the San Francisco Bay Area just before the holiday. I was trying to figure out what is causing this problem besides the obvious. And I think I might be onto something. So I'll give you my reporting on that. And then the latest news about the vaccine and vaccine mandates. Maybe some news I can't even cover on YouTube, or we'll go over to Rockfin, and then maybe I'll take phone calls too. Oh, and I was going to tell you about Thanksgiving. I wonder how everybody's was. Thanksgiving has become a really controversial thing where you have to deal with your family. And your family, depending on what they believe in, may be the enemy. And you have to decide whether you want to spend time with them anymore. And it's a real pickle when your family watches Rachel Maddow and Stephen Colbert. And that's like, they think that's new. They think that's real. So I might give you an update on that, maybe in private over on Rockfin after the show's over. Okay, so I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. This is Lift the Veil. To support the show, become a subscriber on Rockfin. Okay, it turns your dollars. It's $9.99 a month. You get access to Whitney Webb and all these other content creators on there. The Last American Vagabond is over there. Slow News Day. A bunch of people. Jimmy Dore is over there. Bunch of people. So you need to check it out and sign up for $9.99 a month. It multiplies the money into a magic internet money and then pays it out to the content creators. So it has to do with cryptocurrency, and it's good for us. And they support free speech. I can say whatever the hell I want there. They don't fuck with me the way YouTube does. So support them, support me, etc. ROKFIN.com/lifttheveil. Also, we make t-shirts, and we have just an epic t-shirt company, which I haven't been able to promote because I haven't been on YouTube. Check it out. I'm wearing one of our famous shirts, Barely Legal. It's a propaganda shirt. It lets people know what you think. And for holiday presents, you can't do better than Truth Revolution Clothing, truthclothing.io. That's our little t-shirt shop, which my wife creates all this stuff. And we have products. First of all, as far as we know, we have nothing from China. And we have some things from America and Americans and American fields. We have cotton grown in American fields sewed into American shirts, like these Freedom of Voice shirts. And we also have our decentralized Truth Matters. We have Question Everything. Our Nassim shirts are made in America. Check it out. And then this new design, Freedom of Face. Check out our website, truthclothing.io. We also are supporters of Last American Vagabond and Slow News Day, and you can buy their merchandise on this site. And that's some of it right there. It says Question Everything. Really nice Christmas gifts. Really high quality stuff. No, not Teespring. It's not crap. It's good. We have it in stock, and we'll ship it to you right away. Truthclothing.io. Free shipping on orders over $60 in the United States. And then I have another sponsor I can't even mention on YouTube. I have another sponsor can't even tell you about on YouTube. I'll have to save that for Rockfin. And then, and that's it. And also, if you need help with cryptocurrency, that's my other job. You can ask me. You can go to bitcoinmissionary.com. That's my website to sign up for that, okay? And that's all the promos for today. This is Fauci today on the news. This is what is being said about this new variant, Omicron, which came from the south of Africa, they think, but it's been found a few other places too. They think it came from the south of Africa, and they say it's got some mutations and it's more transmissible. Here's Fauci talking about it today so you can hear what he's saying, okay?
Question is, what makes this new variant so different and so concerning?
Well, it has a large number of mutations, particularly in that area of the virus that relates to its ability to bind to the cells in your nasopharynx and in your lung, namely related to transmissibility. So you would predict from looking at the mutations that have been identified, that it likely will be more transmissible. We don't know that yet, but you have to be careful and assume that that's the case.
I forgot. He said you don't know that. They actually don't know anything. And the things they do know would lead them to kind of downplay the concerns about this virus. But they actually don't know anything. They know that cases have kind of gone up in South Africa, and it might be related to this new variant. They know that this new variant has some mutations that make it different, and maybe more transmissible. Is that a bad thing? That's what we'll find out. Hold on.
It also has a bunch of mutations that would suggest it could evade the protection, for example, of monoclonal antibodies and perhaps even convalescent plasma for people who've been infected and recovered, and possibly vaccine. These are all maybes, but the suggestion is enough, and it seems to have really spread rather rapidly in South Africa. Even though the numbers are relatively small, its ability to infect people who have recovered from infection and even people who've been vaccinated make us say this is something you got to pay really close attention to.
All right. That's what's scary, right? He says people who have recovered from the virus and people who have been vaccinated, he says. Oh, it's scary, and it spreads fast, even though the numbers are kind of low still. He says later in this interview that it's probably already here in the United States. They picked up that headline, okay? Stock market sold off. Dow was down like 1,000 points. Bitcoin really sold off. Everybody is freaking out about the new variant, and the headlines are really scary. 32 mutations on the spike protein. Might make it evade vaccines, might make it so that you can get reinfected with it. But you know what they don't know, or maybe they do, is whether it's like bad for you or whether it kills people or not. And as far as I know, as of right now, the number of deaths attributed to this new virus variant are 0. So what do we do when we have a new virus that we don't know anything about? There are 100 cases worldwide, probably started in South Africa or around the south of Africa, maybe Botswana or something like that. Some shithole country, as our former president would say, or maybe still our president. I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. He said, so that's where it started. You know, one of those places that hasn't had COVID either. Like Africa, least vaccinated place in the world. No problem with COVID so far. So maybe they had to come up with one, right? 2,000 cases a day in South Africa. That's where they're at. Or last I checked, maybe it's higher now. It's spreading fast. Lots of mutations. Vaccine might not work. Okay, so what do they do? Hold on. In the UK, this is BBC News. Travel and mask rules. You may have seen do not comply trending. Hashtag do not comply trending on Twitter. That's our friends from the UK who plan to not comply with the new mask rules. So even though they found like 3 cases in the UK, I'll tell you about the virus that they're freaking out about. Travel restrictions. You got to quarantine when you come back for like 10 days. If you go out of the country and come back, you got to wear a mask now in shops. People are talking that like they're not going to comply with it. Okay. Travel and mask rules in the UK. There's other travel restrictions in Europe. Joe Biden has restricted travel from South Africa and 7 other countries starting Monday. Sounds like a black people ban to me. Seems like it's kind of racist. That's what they would have said if it was Donald Trump doing it. Oh, I can't even say it. Yeah, Joe Biden doesn't want black people coming to this country from shithole countries in South Africa. No, that's not what they say about Joe Biden. They say it's smart, right? They're trying to buy time. That's what they say. We're trying to buy time to prepare for the new variant, Omicron. And they didn't name it after President Xi, who was up for getting a virus named after him, a variant named after him, because they thought that would be political. You might have heard that. This one wouldn't have been called President Xi virus, but one of the mutations would have been the Xi variant. And they said that that's not acceptable. You can't do that. I'll tell you about China. I wasn't even planning to talk about China today. So Biden is restricting travel. He is not being called a racist for banning black people. The governor of New York has already declared a state of emergency. This is hilarious. The governor of New York has already declared a state of emergency over a virus variant which we know nothing about and which we've detected 0 cases so far in the United States. She seems to think she's having a problem with hospitals, but it seems like if she is having a problem with hospitals, it's probably because of all the unvaccinated nurses and medical and doctors who got let go because of the vaccine mandate. The vaccine, which, by the way, they say might not work against the new variant. So that'll be smart, right? So we got the vaccine mandate in place. So we got rid of a bunch of people. So now hospitals can't do elective surgeries and stuff because they don't have enough staff. And then there's going to be a new variant, which the vaccine provides no immunity to. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense, right? So yeah, look for overwhelming use of government power to control you and your activities. Biden said, the White House said they're not going to lock down again, so we'll see. But the White House did say, not going to lock down again, but we'll see. You know, what do you think their response is going to be? In Israel, they banned the foreigners completely. They just took it all the way. Israel has banned foreigners from entering the country, unless they're Jewish. No, I don't know. No, I guess it's all foreigners. I don't know what that means, though, because I thought if you were Jewish, you could always go to Israel. All foreigners banned, and the restrictions go into effect Sunday night over a virus, which, like I said, which everyone admits they don't know anything about. The people that would know about it, what did they say about it? That's just what I want to know, because I want to know, do I need to sell my Bitcoin or whatever? Is shit going to hit the fan like last time? These are my thoughts on it based on the people who would know about the virus, the people in South Africa. The South African Medical Association says Omicron variant causes quote unquote mild disease. You know what viruses do? It's really interesting. Naturally, this happens with viruses. They mutate. They become more contagious and less deadly very frequently. This is very common. Science says that it's very common for a deadly virus to mutate, become more contagious and less deadly. And actually, the Delta variant, which is like the only variant around now, the Delta variant came out, and it was real, more contagious than the previous variants. And it basically made it so the previous variants don't exist anymore. And that's a good thing, because the Delta variant is less dangerous, less deadly than the previous versions of the virus. You know, what do you know, right? It mutated, became more contagious. Everybody freaked out. They tried to freak out over Delta, but in Delta, it didn't end up being that bad. Omicron, supposedly, if this is what they're saying, it doesn't do anything. They say mild cough, maybe. I'll read you what they say about it. South African medical, the new Omicron variant of the coronavirus results in mild disease without prominent syndromes, says Angelique Coetzee, the chairwoman of the South African Medical Association. Quote, it presents mild disease with symptoms being sore muscles and tiredness for a day or two, not feeling well. For sore muscles and tiredness for a day or two, not feeling well. So far, We have detected that those infected do not suffer loss of taste or smell. They might have a slight cough. There are no prominent symptoms. Of those infected, some are currently being treated at home. And then she goes on to say, quote, we will only know this after 2 weeks. Oh, whether it's different for the unvaccinated. Okay. So far, regarding whether the vaccine works or not, so far, the virus has not been detected in vaccinated people. So it could be that the vaccine totally works against it. It could be. Might be unlikely, but so far, they haven't even found it in vaccinated people. And they will know, quote, we will only know this after 2 weeks. Yes, it is transmissible, but for now, as medical practitioners, we do not know why so much hype is being driven. We do not know why so much hype is being driven as we are still looking into it. We will only know after 2 to 3 weeks as there are some patients admitted, and these are young people aged 40 and younger, unquote. So they're saying this is the South African Medical Association. They're saying they don't know why everybody's freaking out or why they banned travel from South Africa. It doesn't seem cool considering South Africa did the right thing, supposedly, by saying, hey, we have a new variant. They banned travel for something that sounds, from this description, really mild. So I'm going to say this whole thing might be a big nothing burger, as they call it, but a lot of panic, a lot of people selling stuff. I think probably things will come back. I think if this is the case, which you'd expect, then it would be positive. That it would maybe be a positive development. Oh, look, you can catch it and not get and end up not getting sick. And as a benefit of catching it, you'd have immunity to all the versions of the virus. That's typically how it works. So that if they believe the science, they would say, oh, great. New variant, less deadly, let her rip, right? No new restrictions. So that's the news about the virus, as far as I can tell. So if you're looking for, like, if you're wondering what's going to happen to Bitcoin and stocks and everything, probably everything is going to be just fine. If this is the case, that it's really mild. But in the meantime, look for crazy restrictions from crazy countries. And, you know, they still say we have to wear a mask here in California. It's we're still here in California under a state of emergency permanently. So because the government is tyrannical here. And we're supposedly supposed to wear masks indoors, even though a lot of people flout the law. All right, so that's what's going on with Omicron. Okay, now you know the story. You guys might have heard, if you've been listening to the news, you might have heard there was an incident, a collision, at a Christmas parade involving a red SUV that drove through the crowd, right? Did you hear about that? It happened shortly after the Kyle Rittenhouse case in Wisconsin. Some people thought it might have been related. Well, that car crash, people didn't appreciate the way it was being reported. And it was reported on Wikipedia, this has changed, as a crash, a car crash. Someone on MSNBC referred to it as an accident. People who pointed out that the guy by the way, happens to be a black guy, and he happens to support BLM and maybe identifies as Hebrew, Israelite, whatever those are, the black Hebrew Israelites that are kind of racist against white people and Jews and so forth. And he posted things in favor of Hitler killing Jews. The news, the Daily Beast, actually wrote an article criticizing independent journalists Tim Pool and Andy Ngo for pointing out that this guy said those things. They said, the Daily Beast said that they were illegitimately tying the guy to Black Lives Matter. He supported Black Lives Matter causes. If he was white, he would be called a white supremacist. For sure, using the standards that they use, like for Kyle Rittenhouse, for example. But in this case, it might be correct to say so. He said things in favor of black supremacist movements, like what's going on, things that are going on in South Africa with whites being cleared out, kind of supported that, and talked about knocking white people out. And still the news didn't want to report on it, put it that way. The news just didn't want to say that it might have something to do, and there is still no motive in this attack. Well, some people noticed, even on the left, people are getting red-pilled because of the bias in the media, I have to say. Even though it seems like we're in a really dark time, people are getting red-pilled. A lot of people were red-pilled by the Kyle Rittenhouse case, how Kyle Rittenhouse was treated and characterized by the media versus how people got an impression of the young man from seeing him testify or from watching the videos of what happened to him. A lot of people, even though we know the loud voices, they say, white supremacist and everything, a lot of people woke up from that. Some people woke up because of the cover-up in this case and how the perceived cover-up by the media. This is Deborah Messing. She's a super liberal person. Said, "Dear mainstream media, a man intentionally drove his car through a parade, killing 6 and injuring 50 plus. It was not an accident. Call it by its name, hashtag Waukesha massacre. And it was a domestic terror attack. Don't minimize, please." Okay? So there you go. You have Deborah Messing, a super liberal person who says, what the F? What are you guys talking about? Somebody killed a bunch of people. It looked like it was totally intentional. We don't have a motive for it, but either way, it wasn't an accident. He's been charged with murder. Intentional. And they said that he intentionally weaved around, hidden as many people as possible. So Deborah Messing kind of woke up over that. People are talking about bail reform. This is from NPR. Says there is a backlash brewing against bail reform after the parade tragedy in Waukesha. There is a backlash brewing against bail reform because the guy got off on $1,000 bail. It just doesn't look good for liberals. Things lately. News. Because he got off on $1,000 bail because bail reform. Because people say that high bail is unfair for poor people and minorities. So he got off $1,000 after running over his girlfriend, apparently, allegedly, I should say. Even the guy that was in charge said that was probably too low. Now people are saying, okay, enough with this stuff. Enough with letting dangerous criminals out on the streets. So even NPR wrote an article about it. There is backlash brewing against bail reform now. And just to show that the news is real, New York Post did report on this. Daryl Brooks shared pro-Hitler memes and called for violence against white people. I don't know if it was a racially motivated attack. And I think we can't say that for sure. But if the same standards were applied as they would be applied to a white person with similar views expressed on their page, then the media would be calling for blood. And they would definitely not refrain from calling it a white supremacist domestic terror attack. The same way they're refraining, for the most part, from calling this a black supremacist domestic terror attack, which they could do. You could say that. He expressed views that go along with like black nationalism or black supremacy. Okay. And if we think supremacy is wrong, it should be wrong for everybody. There's lots of supremacy we don't call out, though, by the way. Black supremacy is not the only one. We put up with it, though. We put up with supremacy. The other one is Jewish supremacy. We're okay with that. You can't ever. In fact, it's good. Christians actually believe in it, too. Strangely enough, because they're cucks. They actually think Jews are better than they are because, God chose them. So that's another form of supremacy that will never be called out, by the way. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. But it's true. It exists, and it's bad. And it happens, and it has to do with what's going on in Israel, too, by the way. So that's, like I said, some of the fallout from that event, which I don't know if we'll hear any more from that event or not, or if we're ever going to hear a motive or not. Like I said, I don't know if he was motivated by race, but if he was, then people should condemn it. And then it would be a hate crime too. Not that I believe in hate crimes, though. I believe in crimes. It should be illegal to kill people, and you should treat people who kill people, the same way, regardless of their race and stuff. It's not good to kill people, for whatever reason. That's my opinion. Unless you're defending yourself, and then it's still not good. It's just, but it might be legal. All right. So that's the news from the Darrell Brooks, perhaps racially motivated attack. And now let me tell you, okay, I said I did some investigative reporting. People have seen organized gangs breaking into stores and stealing a bunch of stuff. Okay. People have seen it, and actually it is kind of portrayed in a racial way because it's usually mostly black people that they show doing these thefts. And so it's one of those kind of hot button issues where the media doesn't talk about it maybe as condemningly as they should, because maybe they see the race of the perpetrators and they think, oh, it's just property crime, etc. But this stuff is serious. It makes people afraid to go shopping, and it makes our prices go up too. We're worried about inflation. But in reality, and also people blame it on soft on crime policies, and they say it happens in just liberal cities and stuff. In fact, it's happening everywhere. Hopefully it doesn't happen anywhere where you are soon, but it could. And part of it has to do with the fact that, yes, in places like California, they changed the rules so you can steal up to almost $1,000 worth of stuff, and it's just a misdemeanor. And the cops can't chase after you if you just committed a misdemeanor. So their hands are literally tied as to whether they can stop these thieves from just en masse going into stores, smash and grab, stealing everything because of how the laws are, I guess, because they don't know if the person's just stealing less than $1,000 worth of stuff. In any case, I'm here to tell you, it's not just black people doing it, for one thing. It's organized crime, and it's not just created by these laws, but also facilitated by technology, namely Amazon, basically. And so you realize once you look into these various rings that have been busted, this is a business. All of these people involved are just part of business. It's not a good business, but they look at it that way. It's organized crime, top down. The people that you see going in, stealing stuff from Best Buy, or they're just being paid to do it. They're just doing a job, basically, for somebody else. And somebody else has to take these goods and fence them. And that thing has gotten a lot easier because of technology, and specifically because of Amazon. And Amazon doesn't do anything to stop it, and in fact profits from it, basically. That's what my research shows. Amazon is profiting, And they benefit in other ways too from retail theft because they're not a retailer. They don't have to worry about people feeling comfortable shopping from Amazon. And they don't have to worry about raising their prices because stuff's being taken off their shelves. And guess what? They sell the stolen goods. So without dealing with that problem, there is going to be a problem of this organized theft when people have such an easy way to move merchandise after stealing it. So what do people do? Steal from Best Buy, sell it on Amazon. Steal from wherever, sell it on Amazon. Steal from Amazon, resell on Amazon. Amazon could do something, I'm sure of it, I'm positive that Amazon could do more to fight it because they're selling millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of stolen goods right now. And these are goods that are stolen from their competitors. So this is just an article about it. I just did a little research on it, watched videos, saw exactly what was going on with it. Like I said, people from all different races are involved. And it is big business and it's grown quite a bit. And I think that the reason it's grown is not just soft on crime policies, even though soft on crime policies have something to do with it, but organized theft, organized looting is its own specific problem. And it says in here, large retail chains, including CVS, Home Depot, and Target, have seen increases in organized retail theft and in turn have beefed up shoplifting prevention teams. Further complicating the matter, according to officials, is that thieves can sell items online, specifically on Amazon, easily and anonymously. Now, they have tried to make Congress adopt new legislation requiring online retailers to verify details for its sellers and share some of that information publicly, but Amazon doesn't want to do it. I don't think that's the answer because I think they can figure it out. I don't think it's that hard. With algorithms, you can figure out what suspicious activity looks like. I'm sure they know what suspicious activity looks like, and they just don't care because nothing happens to them if they host this illegal activity. Here's a story. I said they don't care. This will load up in a second. Stolen goods on Amazon. It says shoppers won't care, experts say. And this is about a theft ring involving stealing Amazon packages from people's doorsteps, or that the driver of the truck that had the packages on it would just steal them himself. And those packages that they stole, where did they sell them? Amazon. They sold them on Amazon. So they're not even good for themselves, but they didn't lose anything. And their customers, the people that buy from Amazon, don't care. And if it wasn't this easy, I propose to you. Otherwise, if you want to take 10 Xboxes to the pawn shop, they might not want to buy 10 Xboxes. They might get caught doing it. But it's easier when you can deal anonymously and sell this stuff like as a verified seller on Amazon. This is an article about how the jump in theft at Best Buy is traumatizing staff. I was thinking, oh, that's good for Amazon. Traumatizing staff and customers. This is another story about Amazon drivers involved in a theft ring involving millions of dollars worth of stolen goods. It says entities associated with the alleged ringleader did at least $10 million in sales on Amazon since 2013. $10 million of stolen goods went through Amazon, and Amazon has zero liability for it. And they're not intending to do anything to stop it. PayPal, eBay is a little more aggressive about banning suspect users, but not Amazon. So until something is done about being able to fence this stuff, people are just going to keep doing it. I don't know what you can do to stop these organized gangs because, like I said, they run it like a business. There are warehouses full of stolen stuff that they pay these people that you see out doing the stuff. Those are just minor players in the whole thing. So that's what my reporting is for you today. I wanted to tell you about how Amazon is intentionally doing this, most likely. All right. Now I have a little news and in inflation news, it's just important for me to tell you. In inflation news, which is going to continue, and theft has to do with it, COVID has to do with it, the Dollar Tree now costs $1.25, by the way. First price rise in like 35 years, apparently. It went from $1 to $1.25. That's 25% inflation. And they say inflation is only 6%. That's 25% in one move. And I suggest that it might get worse. Next year it might be $2 tree. They're still going to tell us inflation is under 10%. But that's a little news people are telling me. It costs you know how much gas is here in California? Holy cow. The one good thing about this new variant is if people were really scared of it, it would drive down gas prices. But I don't know if people are going to be really scared of it. I really don't. All right, let me talk about the vaccine. What can I tell you about the vaccine? First of all, I told you about the truckers. 37% of truckers don't want to get the vax. I played this at the very beginning of the show, so let me play this one more time, okay? This is what truck drivers are saying about the vaccine mandate.
Would feel about a vaccine mandate. What kind of reactions are you getting from them on that? Just all of them required for a vaccine to do business.
Yeah, and I want to be clear and qualify this, that this isn't about being pro or anti-vax for us. We've been moving the vaccine, PPE and test kits. So this is something our industry is very forward leaning on. But in our sample survey of our fleets, it came back as 37% of our drivers not only said no, but hell no. Now, let's just take a conservative number. Let's just say 3.7%, not 37%, were to actually leave rather than get the vaccine. That'd be catastrophic. We're already short 80,000. That's going to inflate it to 250,000. So for us, we've tried to be very clear with the administration that if you do this, I understand the logic behind it, but if you do this, these are the consequences. So if you're trying to solve the supply chain problem, you're actually compounding it and actually hurting the very problem that you're trying to fix on the vaccine side. So, be careful what you wish for here. I also don't think, Congressman, that OSHA has the jurisdiction to do this.
There you go. So that's the truckers union talking about it. Google employees also signed a manifesto against widespread COVID vaccine mandate. So some at Google, they point out it's a very small portion of the total amount of Google employees, but several hundred of them got together, signed a manifesto against the COVID mandate. The mandates are coming up now. And you guys heard it's going to take, I think, 55 years for Pfizer to release all its data about the vaccines, right? Well, the stuff that they've released so far already says there were tons of adverse events for the vaccine. And they said, quote, due to the large number of spontaneous adverse event reports received for the product, Pfizer has prioritized the processing of serious cases, has also taken multiple actions to alleviate the large increase of adverse event reports. So, and then they said there were a total of 42,000 reports containing 158,000 events. Of those, 26,000 were classified as nervous system disorders. So they say the vaccine doesn't have side effects. They say the vaccine, you have to say the vaccine helps prevent the spread of the virus. But even the vaccine manufacturer admits that a lot of people had adverse events to it. So as long as we're still allowed to say that. So I think that's all I'm going to cover here on YouTube. I'm going to go over to Rockfin and invite people who are tuned in on YouTube to tune in there. And then I will take phone calls and see how that goes. All right. So thanks everybody on YouTube. It was good to see you. I may never come back. So find me on Rockfin, rokfin.com/lifttheveil, and then become a subscriber there to support the show. And I'm going to end the stream right now. Just thanks everybody. We'll see if I'll try to come back. I missed you people, but find me over there. Okay. And then I'll take calls. All right. For YouTube, that's what it is.